Welcome into another episode of Complacency Learning, the show that changes learners' attitudes towards learning. Some call him the math genius, some call him Ndivhuwo, some call him D, the karaoke king, some call him Tshivhase, and I like to call him Tshivhase. Our guest for today has a passion for making a difference and helping learners make informed career decisions in order for them not to fall into the world of too much anxieties. Not only is he one of the best teachers I've come across, he's also the founder and CEO of Complacency Learning. He's usually the host, today the chairs of change, and he's on the other side of the table. Without wasting any more time, let me take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Ndivhuwo Tshivhase. Good evening, Mr. Tshivhase. How are you doing today?
Good evening, Thandeka. I'm young, I'm kicking, I'm above the ground. So I appreciate life by being happy, you know?
Okay, I'm sure our viewers cannot wait to get to know a bit more about you. Like, can you tell us where you were born and where you grew up?
Oh yeah, so I was born in the province of Gauteng, but I wasn't raised here, unfortunately. So I had to go to Limpopo, Venda, you know, that's where I was raised by my mom. You know, my dad was also part of us, but he was just working in GP, just coming to visit us and stuff whenever he gets a chance. So I attended my primary school, primary education, high school education in Limpopo, and I only came here to Gauteng when I was doing my first year at the University of Pretoria.
Oh, that's great. And how was university for you?
Well, university life was the best, you know, having to choose the time where you would like to attend the lessons, you know, instead of just going to school from 7 to 2 o'clock, you know, so that was kind of like boring. But at varsity, knowing that you choose the time, you know, if you feel like you don't want to attend in the morning, you attend in the afternoon. So being exposed to that kind of life, it came as a thrill, you know, so if only I could go back, I would, you know, that's how nice it was.
Oh, well, you heard it yourself. Mr. Tshivhase used to bunk his classes.
Yeah, I think everybody does. Yeah. Everybody does. Yeah.
Okay, Ndivhuwo, what does learning mean to you?
Well, learning for me, it means trying, you know. Every day we wake up with opportunities, we wake up with a chance to try and become something great, you know. Like, although we don't know how the day ends, and we know that most of the time it doesn't usually end the way that we plan, you know. But for me, learning, it means that you wake up, you appreciate life, and then you do what you were created to do, you know. I believe that everybody was born to serve a purpose. So if you're not serving that purpose, I feel like you're not learning, because you must remember that for you to get to where you want to go and to keep up with the ever-changing dynamics of the world, you need to keep learning. So for me, learning means doing the best you can every day, you know, and making sure that you don't go back the same as when you woke up, you know.
Oh, okay. So you're passionate about helping learners make informed career decision. Do you personally think that you made an informed, like, or you took an informed career choice, or do you wish you had someone like you in your time to advise you career-wise?
You know, nothing makes me happier than seeing the learners that I teach, you know, becoming successful in life, prospering, you know. That at the end of the day, it makes me proud, because it makes me realize that I've actually made a difference, you know, that I'm serving the purpose very well, which is to teach the learners, you know. As I believe that learners are born with an inherent need to learn, and I feel that we as teachers and parents are the ones that need to make sure that those needs are met, you know, because those learners, when they look at us, they see people who can really help them get to where they want to be, you know. It's more like they trust their future, like in our hands, you know. So I feel that as parents and teachers, we need to make sure that those needs are met, because if they are not met, then that means nothing has been done to that child, you know. So for me, like, I feel like it's a perfect career that I've chosen, because at the end of the day, seeing learners succeed in life is what makes me happy, you know, and it's what also keeps me going. So yeah, I'm happy with the career.
Okay, you're reminding me of my boss. Whenever I go to her for advice, She always tells me that, Thandeka, when you get that salary and when you sleep at night, you must have that thing in your heart that says, yes, I have played my part. I have earned this money and I made a difference. Is there something that you wish you had known when you first started your career? And what are the common myths about your profession that you would like to debunk given the opportunity?
So yeah, you know that a lot of us, yes, we do wish that if only we had known something from the beginning, then we'd be so much further than we are, right? So I feel that, you know, for me at first, the way I visualized teaching, it was a matter of just going to class, you teach, and sometimes even give some corporal punishment, you know, because that's how we grew up. We used to get those corporal punishment and all that, right? So I feel that if only I had known that every time I talk to a student, I have a chance to actually build a positive school culture, then I feel that I would have done my job very well all these past years, you know. But you know, you cannot go into the career knowing everything. You know, you gotta start somewhere small and then you build up as you go, you know. So I feel that if I had known how much it means to speak to a child, you know, what message they're receiving from us, you know, the fact that they're trusting us, like I mentioned earlier, with their future. So I feel that, yeah, if only I had known that the kind of impact that we have on these learners, I feel like I would have touched more children in a positive way than I've ever done before. So yeah, and when it comes to the common myth, you know, they say, like in terms of education, right? They say that us as teachers, we just getting free holidays and all that, you know. We don't have too much work to do. Like people just see this whole teaching career as in like standing in front of the learners, but they don't realize that there is admin, you know. By admin, I'm talking about, you know, that those things that you spend your home time doing, you know, like marking, planning for the lessons, you know, preparing, seeing how you can deliver it in a way that everybody understands, you know. So I just want to put it out there that teaching is not just about just standing in front of learners. There's a whole lot of things involved. So and it's not that we don't have much to do. We do have a lot of things to do. And most of the time we're panicking, wondering how we're gonna get everything done within a limited time that we have, you know. So I feel that for me, I'm proud to say that teaching is not how people look at it. You know, it's just more than standing in front of learners.
Yes, it is. I'd like to agree with you there, 110%. And my next question is about something that most of us struggle with. Running a business requires a lot of commitment, and 90 to 95% of that commitment is time. Now, with you having a handsome son, living with him full time, having a full time job, having to make time for your loved ones, how do you cope, Ndivhuwo? How do you do it?
That's a very good question. You know, first I gotta take you back to you know some chapter of my life. You know, at first I wasn't living with him, and the fact that I wasn't living with him was like it was difficult on its own because it kind of like made me feel like a failure, you know. And at that time, at some point, I worked at this school when they showed me too much of racism. You know, I'm not gonna mention the school. So at some point, it kind of like threw me out of education. I just felt like, you know, if only I can just go and touch learners on like from my own company, like build a company, start something, you know. And obviously, before you start something, when you're planning, you see it like boom, it's just gonna boom and blow and everything, right? But the reality, in actual reality, you know that it doesn't go the way we plan. And along the process, some people they lose that drive, they lose that motivation because things are not taking off the way they thought it would, you know. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, this requires patience, you know. You need to be patient, you need to trust the process. Because I remember some point life threw me in a location, you know, where I felt depressed, you know. I couldn't even step out of the house, you know. And at some point I felt like, you know, I was just giving up on this company, but something reminded me that, you know, I was born for, I mean, for a purpose, you know. There's something like this is my thing. because at the end of the day, it was hurting me, not only because I wasn't getting money, but because my time of teaching was limited. So which means that I wasn't teaching as much as I would have loved to, right? So because of that, I then said to myself, you know what, stop feeling sorry for yourself and do something. And then I said to myself, you know what, I know I don't know how to drive a scooter. And somebody was willing to borrow me a scooter, and I was like, I'm gonna get on that. I take risks, you know. This is how important this career is for me, you know, and I'm gonna see to it that I succeed, you know. And at some point I kept working because at the end of the day I wanted to be with my son, you know, and I wasn't with him. And most of the time I would cry myself to sleep, you know. You know, there was at some point I called you when I was feeling emotional, too much emotional. I remember that day.
Yes.
Yeah. So it would really hit
Yes.
deep. It would really hit deep, you know. So and then I decided the only thing that was really driving me the most was the fact that I wanted to be with my son, you know. Started working really hard, things started opening, and now I get to live with him. But at first I thought, oh, it's just gonna be easy since he's like 6 years old, going for 7, but now he's already turned 7. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be easier because most of the things he can do them himself. Only to find out that it's not, because you know, I go to work. From work, I come here. I need to start. I need to still teach learners. You know, do the tutoring and stuff. And sometimes I have to soldier on like a super mama. You know, and then just cook while I'm busy teaching. Just go there, mute and run and take off my shoes so that when I run, they don't make noise on the floor. You know, so
Mm.
so at first it felt so like heavy, but as time goes, you know, the more you do it, it becomes part of you. And the more it becomes part of you, it's more like a habit, right? And once it's a habit, you don't feel it that much. And right now, I have to say that with him around, it's amazing. It's the best. Like I couldn't have asked for a better life.
By the way, you're one of the greatest dads
Thank
in this
you.
world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't throw too much compliment. I'm gonna blush in front of the screen. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
move on. Ndivhuwo.
Okay.
I know
Mm,
complacency has been thriving.
mm,
However, I do also know that failure is part of the game.
mm.
What would you say has been your biggest failure, and how did you overcome it? And what did you learn from that failure?
My biggest failure was you know when I couldn't live with my son, and when my career was just going down. Like I felt that I failed myself, that I failed everybody around me. You know, at some point I almost let that failure define me. That's how deep it was. And fortunately I had to always remember that I was born for a purpose, and always remind myself, you know, that this is not the kind of life that I want, you know. And also, you know, being in the location, you know, you see people there, like they look like hopeless. Like most of them don't have a
Mm,
job. It's like they just wake up, they're
mm,
just drinking in the morning. So for
mm,
me, seeing them doing that, it kind of like, yo, it scared me, you know, because I started fearing for my future. Like I was like, is this where I'm gonna be in the next few years to come? You know, and then I had to, and then the answers were like no, no, because you know that with the mind, if you ask your mind questions, you know, it won't rest until it find answers. That's why you need to ask
yes.
your mind, like, you know, right questions. So I started right asking myself, like, how can I do, like, what can I do to actually get out of this situation? I realized that one first thing first, I need to stop procrastinating. And also, I need to understand, like you said, that failure is part of the process. I need to understand that in order for me to succeed, I need to go out there, fail, you know. I need to have people messing up my day, you know, because of not appreciating the services that I'm offering, you know, like not giving me time to actually tell them about my services, you know. So it felt like, you know how it is, like you try to get people's attention, sometimes they look at you like as if you're not a human being, you know, and standing there, the robots handing out flyers and people just coming there straight to you and stuff, and then you have to watch out for your
Mm,
life. Like it's
mm,
for me, I think above everything else, it was more like understanding that failure is part of the process. I need to be out
mm,
there. I need to fail, because they say if you find it, when you find yourself failing, that means you're doing something innovative. Because otherwise, if you're not failing, what are you doing that's innovative? And at the end of the day, I also have to be thankful that I was not in a very pleasant situation. And, it's outside the comfort zone where you can develop yourself, where you're comfortable, you can't develop yourself. So for me, I think being in an uncomfortable position and then, yeah, so it kind of like also helped me um overcome everything, and just be where I am today, you know.
Talking about procrastinating,
Mm.
you are reminding me of someone that I know.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
I think we all procrastinate, eh?
At some point, yes, we
Yeah,
do. You actually
yeah,
reminded me of myself.
yeah. That you
So I'm not alone with
procrastinate.
the struggle.
Yeah.
Yes, I do a lot.
I think I think
Anyways,
I think you should also remind you should always remind yourself that discipline is doing what needs to be done at the time that it needs to be done. Then you will stop procrastinating, especially if you remind yourself of what you call this. You know that if you're doing things on the side, you don't have that drive. It's not like you're at a workplace where you know that if you don't do this, your boss might fire you and all that. Right. So it's, yeah, on its own, it becomes like something challenging. So to procrastinate, it's easy to do so. But if you keep reminding yourself of who you are, and then you have mentors, you put the right people in your corner, you will stop doing that. And also, obviously, you need to read, because reading also, it helps you, like I mentioned earlier, it helps you keep up with the changing dynamics of the world.
speaking about reading, are you currently reading something that's helping you along the way? If yes, please tell us a bit more about it. And also, can you tell us about some of the books that you have previously read, some of the videos that you have watched that you can say has brought complacency this far?
It's most of the things that I read were not like books, It was just like, like the articles from the internet, Going to the internet, you search for certain things that you need assistance with. So for me, most of my learning came from the internet. But however, I did read some books though, like Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. So that was the first book that I read from the beginning till the end, because sometimes we start to read these books, but somewhere along the line we stop. And then also there was one that I read about it's called The Capitalist Nigger. So I don't think it would be wise for me to actually talk about it, as it might offend other people because of the content that's in the book. And then also the other one was also one of the book that I got from the best one of my guests, who's the best-selling author from United States of America there. Her name is Terry B. McDougall. So it was about being happy in your career, instead of feeling like a prisoner or like a victim in your own career. You need to own it and be happy. And that's how she actually broke out of the cycle of playing small and started playing big. And when I asked her how she did that, she told me that she had a lot of people, good people in her corner. And they would, every time when they were struggling with one or two, they would talk to each other and figure out a way how they can do it. And having a strong team, it does help you, I must say. So that book that she gave to me, she gave me after one of the episodes that I shot with her, right? And yeah, like also I said, and sometimes I would go to the library. Library is free. Like you don't pay. It's free. You go there, you want to borrow book, they're happy to borrow you. If you're running a business, read books about the business. Find the articles about the business, see how the market is doing. See how you can keep up, how you can stand out. So yeah, so those are the things that I've read.
That sounds very interesting. I'd like to read one of the books that you have read, if you don't mind sharing.
I really don't mind. I really don't mind.
Thank you, Ndivhuwo.
You're so
With all
welcome.
that you have achieved, your challenges and regrets, who are the three people that have been with you and have helped you along the way?
All right, that's a very good question. Right, so I don't know if I think it might offend other people, especially if they're hoping for me to mention them and I don't. But either way, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. Number one person is my mom. I respect that woman for what she did to me, the way she raised me and everything, you know. I'm not saying that my father didn't raise me. He also raised me. It's just that he also had to work, but most of the time I spent it with my mom. Right. So my mom, she held that family. You know, she would sit with me when I was about in foundation phase. That's about grade R. To well, I didn't have grade R. That's about grade 1 to grade 3. Yeah. So in foundation phase, she would sit with me asking me questions like, what is 2 plus 2? I say 5. And then the shoe that comes to the back of my head, like, you know? And sometimes she asks me, what is 2 plus 2? I say 4. But ready to counter those blocks, I mean, those punches, I mean, the smack from the shoe, right? She would still call me and say, hey, lack of confidence, come here, you know, until I was confident to say, you know, 2 plus 2 is 4, 5 plus 5 is 10. You know, she wanted me to be like that. And as time goes, she was like, no, you know, I've taught you all that I could. So I believe that you can do this on your own moving forward, you know. So just make sure that you put your mind to work. Don't just say that mathematics is difficult. Don't say whatever you're studying is difficult. Because when you find yourself thinking that it's difficult, just know that it's that attitude that you're starting to develop towards it. Right. So have a good attitude and just say, you know what, I can do it. And then from then, that's why now most of the things I do it myself, you know, because I believe I can learn it, because that's the thing that my mom taught me. And I feel that with those skills that she taught me, I'm able to move to even higher places, you know. And the second person that has influenced me the most is my dad. My dad is a very hard worker, you know. It's not that he wasn't there because he didn't want to be with us. That's because he understood that his children need to have a great future, you know. And for them to have a great future, he needs to work, you know. Most of the time, even up to this date, when I'm with him, he's working. He's always working and working and working, you know. But he does also give us time, but most of the time he's working. So for me to see him working and I'm not working, it kind of like reminds me that I'm lazy, that I need to step up out of the comfort zone, that I need to have a plan. I need to be doing something with my life, you know. And also other people that have influenced me, it's my previous employers, not all of them though, but yeah, there's a few that have really influenced me to a point where I felt like, you know, I want to become something big, you know. And also my current employer as well, kind of like she influences me to want to be something great, and yet hence I have her as one of my mentors, you know. She's my mentor, by the way. So yeah.
Who's your current employer?
Mrs.
Anyways, whatever
Longwane.
you put your
That's
mind. Who?
yes, it's Mrs. Longwane, Mrs. Musa Longwane from
Oh,
Itzerg.
oh,
Yes.
okay. I just
Mm,
like to agree with you on something that you said.
mm,
You said that, I'm just going to paraphrase it. You
mm,
said something like, whatever you put your mind into,
mm,
you can do. And those that say it cannot be done must not disturb those who are doing it.
mm, mm, mm.
Mm.
So that's
Now,
why in doing that, you need
mm,
to also remember, you know, there's this quote that says, if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small mind. I didn't really
mm,
understand what that quote really meant, right? Until I really, like, you know, this is the way I understand it now, is that, you know, when you have a big dream, you tell people this is my dream, and they're gonna tell you that you're not able to do it, you are incapable. What makes you think that you can pull it? So in other words, they start to project their fears on you, you know, saying that you can't do this, you can't do that. And sometimes if those voices of their voices, if they're loud enough, they can, you know, make you believe that really you can't really do it. But if you block them out and really, you know, listen to your inner person and remind yourself of who you are and what you're born to do, then you're gonna block those voices out. You know.
okay. Oh, I know that this is your question,
Mm-hmm.
Tshivhase.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were in my shoes today, what's that one question that you would have asked yourself that I didn't?
Why do we have to keep learning? I know that most learners say, I hate school, I don't want to go to school. Why do we have to keep learning? People don't understand why we have to keep learning, you know. I did mention earlier on that to keep up with the changing dynamics of the world, we need to keep learning, you know. learning is done in different ways. It can be through reading, it can be through experiences that you go through, you know. So for me, I feel that I kind of like lost the question. What was the question
My
again?
question was, if you were in my shoes today, if
Yes,
you were the host today, what's
yes.
one question that you would have asked me that I didn't ask?
It's like that. I was now I remember. So I was talking about learning, right? Why we have to keep learning. So like I said, we need to that's one way to keep up with the ever-changing world, you know. So I feel that when you learn, you actually get yourself closer to the dreams that have been implanted in your brains and stuff, you know. So to learn, the more you find yourself learning, is the more you find yourself wanting to try out new things, you know. And trying out new things, obviously, there's gonna be challenges and all that, but those challenges are the ones that help you grow at the end of the day. So I feel that it's very important to keep learning so that you don't leave, so that you don't let the train leave you, you know. You don't want to be one of those people who just argue over everything because of lack of information. And also you don't want to see yourself suffering because of lack of information. Because I feel that most people, the reason why they aren't where they want to be is because of lack of information, you know. Like information plays a very big, important part in our lives because the more you are well informed, is the more you know what your next move is gonna be. But if you're not informed, then when you think about your next move, you're just gonna hear those cricket like tutur, 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 tutur. You know how they do it in a movie, like when you're thinking and it's blank. So yeah, so you have to try and avoid that at all costs.
Okay. My last but not the least of questions to you, where can our viewers connect with you, Ndivhuwo?
Well, our viewers, they can connect with me in so many platforms. First of all, they can follow me on my social media platforms. So the handle that I use is my name and surname, which is Ndivhuwo Tshivhase. That's Facebook, that's Twitter, but I mean that's LinkedIn. But for Instagram, it's Ndivhuwo Complacency Learning. And then also they can also contact me on my email account. I mean on my email account, which is Ndivhuwo.Tshivhase at complacencylearning.com. And yeah, also they can maybe WhatsApp me on 081 367 9478. Like for those that don't know, that are not sure which country it's from, it's from Yemzansi. So it's basically +2781 367 9478. So that's where they can get a hold of me. And to our viewers and listeners, please feel free to contact me. I would be so much happy if you do.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Mr. Tshivhase. I know that you are a very busy man. I know that your schedule is very, very, very hectic. And I also know that we've been planning this for months on end. But finally, it got done. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm.
Bye.
I have to say before you go, I have to say, Thandeka, you are the best, you know, and I really also admire your love to see other children succeed, you know, your love to help them live the dreams, you know, that they're born with and stuff, right? So I really do appreciate, and also you taking your time from your busy schedule to come and, you know, be, you know, on the other side of, and to come and put me on the other side of the table, you know. For me, it really means a lot because knowing that I'm not the only one in this, it even gives me more courage to keep going. It actually inspires me to do a lot more. And yeah, believe me, you really touched my heart in so many amazing ways.
Ngiyabonga.